They fear the vaccines were rushed into development, that their effects have not been fully studied, and they will essentially be test subjects. For more news from a Catholic perspective, visit EWTNnews.com. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie starts now.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher and you. We have said that 5.5 years because it's true. You are the key person. When you call in, it changes everything. It makes the show so much better. And today, we just know you're going to have something to say about this topic. But before we get to the topic, I need to say hello to our co-host here. Hi, Jerry.
Well, hi. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. We were just musing off the air about how we're just 10 days away from Christmas. Our producer Michael said it seems like still an eternity yet to go. It seems to me like it's just coming on really fast for me. But looking forward to it as always.
Are you prepared?
Define prepared.
Like, do you have your gifts? Do you send out Christmas cards? You know, the whole thing.
No, I'm a Christmas Eve shopper usually. Actually, no. This year, with everything going on, I have been doing a lot of shopping online because a lot of us are forced to do that. But I think I'm pretty well covered right now. So
cool. So you're ready then? Yeah, that's cool. And it's cold where you are. It is getting really chilly here in Arizona. And it feels like Christmas. And I hear other parts of the country, it's snowing and raining and all sorts of things. So you're definitely experiencing going into the season. I always think it's so beautiful to wake up to a white Christmas. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's really kind of, makes it feel a little bit more like Christmas. Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
I know a lot of parts of the country get that great blessing of having a white Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you have to shovel the snow later,
Right.
and then it's not a blessing anymore. Okay,
Get
but
the
today's
kids to do it.
yeah, get the that's why we had children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always share with my my family members. That's why I had kids. Okay, let's put that aside. Enough of the banter. Let's talk about the topic today: your faith in your home. Your faith in your home. What religious items adorn your home? Do you have a crucifix, a picture of the Last Supper? Do you have spiritual art on the walls? Do you have a picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, the Immaculate Heart of Mary, the Divine Mercy image? Do you have any, like a cross wall? People have these beautiful ornate cross walls where it has such a beautiful artistic feel, and it's usually at the entranceway of the home. Do you have a holy water font? Do you have statues out front or in the back? You see where we're going with this? If somebody were to visit your home, would they know you are a Catholic Christian? Very interesting question. And I'd love to hear what our listeners have to say, Jerry.
Yeah, for you to weigh in on this conversation, the phone number is toll free. It's 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. If you're outside of North America, we will put you at the head of the line, just in case it's costing you a few pennies, 205-271-2985, 205-271-2985. You can make comments on our Facebook and YouTube channels of EWTN Catholic Radio. Email take2@EWTN.com. Several ways to get a hold of us. And we are looking forward. I've been looking forward to this conversation, Debbie, because I love to get
on the calendar.
You did. I'd love to get ideas from other people, and I've been in your and Marty's home before.
Thank
and
you.
seen the scriptures that you have on the wall and the beautiful, in fact, right over your right shoulder right now, I see that beautiful cross made of crosses, right?
That's right. That's right. Very unique. It was the very last one. I actually saw this at the store and they were going to actually get rid of it. It was the very last one, and it was late. It was behind the counter, and I said to the lady, I said, "What are you going to do with that?" She goes, "Oh, it's the last one. We're not going to carry anymore." I said, "Can I buy it?" She goes, "Yeah." It has a little bend. There's a little, I said, it doesn't matter. I'm buying it. And so it's so unique. Right? And
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got the Crown of Thorn prince that's so unique as well over my shoulder as well. And the Our Lady of Guadalupe, you can see Our Lady of Guadalupe in the Skype. But Jerry's right. When you come to our home, Marty and I have decided that as soon as you pull your car up to the front of the house, you will start to recognize Catholic, Christian elements that definitely identify us as a Christian home. Even we have an angel plaque right outside the front door. We also have a scripture verse, and then as soon as you enter in, the holy water font, and then there you go. Every room, every wall. I decided to be very very how can I say this? I wanted it to be very classy spiritual art. I just didn't want it to be all just, a mismatch of things. And so a lot of it has a very iconic feel. And I love that. And so my husband and I love the Tuscan type of interior design. And so it fits in perfectly. We were able to incorporate that. And it adds those beautiful accents. Almost all of the items we have in our home are blessed. I would encourage you to please have your house blessed, and also the beautiful spiritual art that you want to display. And I will tell you, Jerry, and you've said this as well, people, when they come into our home, they feel a sense of peace. And that's exactly what we wanted. That's exactly what it accomplished, exactly what we really prayed for.
Well, and it's also sending God a message that, God, you are first and foremost in our lives. Our faith is the most important thing that we have, and you exhibit that in your home, and I know a lot of other people do who are listening right now. So if that's the case for you, we're talking today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on religious items, articles, signs, symbols in your home, 833-288-3986. And actually, this was kind of an interesting exercise for me, Debbie, because I have a lot of religious items and things in my home that I wasn't even really aware that I had so many until I was getting ready for this program. I think obviously one of the pride and joy things that I have is the enthronement of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I've got a beautiful large Our Lady of Guadalupe print hanging in the living room. I've got statues of St. Isaac Jogues and a bust of St. John Paul II on my headboard, and statues of Jesus, a crucifix, of course, and our Blessed Mother and St. Joseph. So I've got a lot of the bases covered, and friends, we want to hear from you about this today on Take Two.
So please call in at 833-288-3986. Ryan is answering the phones. He's doing such a fine job as always. Jeff is monitoring social media, and Michael Birchfield is in control of everything. So we want you to call in and share what spiritual art adorns your home. 833-288-3986.
Unplanned, the true story of Abby Johnson.
I would be the youngest director in Planned Parenthood history.
She believed in a woman's right to choose.
I've had an abortion myself, so I don't have any problem with another woman making the same decision.
Until the day she saw something that changed everything.
Tiny, perfect little baby. And then it was just gone.
Now she's pulling back the curtain on the abortion industry. Unplanned.
Available at EWTNRC.com and the EWTN app.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
We've started doing these shows. Call in if you're an atheist. Call in if you want to redefine marriage. Those are the kind of shows that make very engaging radio. We're going to continue to try to reach out to the fringes and find those people who fundamentally disagree with us. And we're going to continue to create shows that are going to reach out to those people to draw them in to the fullness of the truth.
Catholic Answers Live, tonight, 6 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
I didn't take my faith seriously, which probably means I never really got it to begin with. No, I didn't want to give up sin. I mean, the reason we sin is because sin is fun. But it's self-love sin. But it's amazing with God's grace how easy trying to not sin it really is.
If you've been away from the Catholic Church for whatever reason, we invite you to take another look. Visit CatholicsComeHome.org today.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and EWTN Radio. Want to wish you a most blessed Christmas. We hope that it is filled with many blessings, graces, and of course peace, because there's been a real absence of peace in a lot of hearts this year. So let us all pray for the peace of the Lord to be with us during this Christmas time. And I also want to mention real quickly, you can get not only a little bit of peace in your heart, but a little humor as well, and some serious stuff, all on Church Pop, Church POP Pop. It's a service of EWTN, takes a fresh and fun look at the news shaping our world. You'll find it on Snapchat, Instagram, and on the web at churchpop.com. In fact, you can just sign up and it'll come right to your inbox early every morning. So if you don't turn the ringer off on your phone, you'll get awakened at about 3 in the morning. So there you go.
Very cool. Very cool. And I always enjoy that. I love church pop. You know, I had a funny feeling this topic would be popular. And look at that. The last phone line was picked up. So please, when a line becomes open, pick it up at 833-288-3986 and share about spiritual art, crucifixes, all sorts of Christian symbols and signs in your home. Can they identify you? If they were to visit your home, would they look at a couple of your walls and say, this is a devout Christian that lives here? Would you want them to think that? Let's talk about it. 833-288-3986. And we're going to go first to Jean in Des Moines, Iowa on Iowa Catholic Radio. Hi, Jean. Welcome.
Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning. How are you?
I am great, and I loved your topic today. I'm considered a church nerd. I just have to say that. And I wear that badge proudly. So just like your home, when you drive up into my yard, you'll see a statue of Mary, and so you'll know that it's a Catholic home right there.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that reminds me. I was listing off some of the things, Gene, that I have in my home, and I actually have a Sacred Heart of Jesus, Immaculate Heart of Mary, and St. Francis outside the house too. So that's beautiful. But when you said a church nerd, is that do you mean just somebody you like to collect things like this and really show your faith in a very real, impactful way?
Well, I work for the church. I have a Catholic radio show, volunteer with the church, and so when that's your entire life, then the things that are in your home reflect that as well. So as you walk in the door, the first thing that you'll see on the opposite wall is a collection of rosaries that have many of them gifts from friends who've traveled all over the country. And It's beautiful to have those rosaries there with statues of Mary in various stages of her life beneath those rosaries to say that the Blessed Mother is my mom.
I love it. I love it, Jean. And thank you so much for all of the great work you do on radio and in ministry. It's so important. But so that you said, and I just want to tap into that too, you said church nerd. You really are proud in a beautiful way to be Catholic. And that's what we need more of. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. My kids, when they were little, they were like, "Oh, Mom, you're such a nerd about this stuff." And so I've embraced that term over the years. But, it is. You live and breathe your faith. And that's what God wants us to do is to, our conversations always come around to the role of Jesus, whether it's with my little grandkids and how much he loves us. And they know, with all the nativity scenes up, how important Christmas is because it's the birth of Jesus. So every conversation evolves around where God has brought us and the blessings he's given us.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually had friends come into my home and say, "Wow, I didn't know you were that religious." I guess either that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not sure, but I will adopt the term church nerd as well, because it just sometimes seems like in the work that we do, it's just really pretty much our lives. So beautiful, Jean.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
God bless you and your ministry.
All right, appreciate you being part of the program.
Thank you. That was a beautiful call. We need to make Catholic cool again. We really do. We need to bring it back, and we can do that slowly. I tell everyone, if you want to start bringing beautiful spiritual art into your home, or blessed, these wonderful blessed items, these sacramentals, start small. Start with one wall, or start, outside like Jean did. That's perfect. And then just keep, you'll see. It's like the good Lord just places all of these wonderful people in front of you that give you things, and things happen, and before you know it, your whole house inside and out is decorated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of about a year and a half ago, I was blessedly invited to do a reading at one of my nephew's wedding. I mean, I think I've told this story on the air before. And he was talking to his pastor, and his pastor wanted to know, okay, who's doing the readings? And he says, well, my uncle's going to do one of them. And the pastor says, is he Catholic? And I guess it must be pretty well known to my nephew that I'm pretty Catholic, because he explained it all to the pastor, and he knew me from Catholic Answers Live and all of that. But I bring that up partly to also congratulate them, because a couple of nights ago they had their first baby, a little girl. So my brother Jim is a grandpa now.
Oh, that is wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah. Your family is growing.
Yeah, my brother Joe he's got like 8 grandkids now. So
wow, that's amazing.
Anyway.
Well, we got started off just perfectly with Jean. Thank you again, Jean. And then, let's keep this going. This is perfect. Let's go on to, where are we going? Terry? Terry in Buffalo, New York, on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Terry.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing well.
Doing
how are you?
Very well. So about a year and a half ago, I moved from one house that I was in to a smaller house, single floor for my wife and I. And the very first article that I moved into the house was a statue of the Blessed Mother. And we put it in front of a picture window so that all the neighbors could see who we were and what we're all about. And so from there, more and more things came in. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was Jerry had mentioned something about, things around your home. And it reminded me of a number of years ago, before Christmas, I made a little video to share with family on social media and whatever, of all of the nativity scenes that I had in my house. So I went around and I took a video of all the nativity scenes, big, small. One of them was in a snow globe. One of them was large, with an actual barn structure around it beneath the Christmas tree. And I set it to the music of James Taylor singing Some Children See Him. And every time I see that video, it just breaks me up. And just to see we must have had 12, I was surprised to find out, 12 nativity scenes throughout our home. And so that's what I wanted to share today.
Wow. I'll bet that was just absolutely fantastic, and each one a little bit different, but each one with the same beautiful, eternal, impactful message and meaning, Terry. And the way you shared that kind of, makes you emotional when you watch that. I can imagine that it definitely would. And yeah, I mean, we live in an age right now where at least publicly, nativity scenes and creches are being kind of nixed and prohibited and all of this stuff. So you said, Debbie, it's more important, Debbie, now than ever. You said, listen, we got to make Catholic cool again. We've got to also bring back, at least in our homes, our front lawns and wherever we can, these nativity scenes that tell the world what it is that we're celebrating during these days.
Absolutely. And Terry, if you get a chance, I believe on the 17th, Jerry, we're going to be talking about the look of different nativity scenes, different creches from around the world, especially even the Vatican. So we'll be talking all about that. Yeah. And but you said that when you see this video, it fills you with emotion. It is when you meditate upon the whole entire event in a beautiful manger scene, right? You can't help but be drawn into it, almost like if you were there, And it truly has that ability to really allow you to kind of move past where you are and into that whole event. And it's just Yeah, I totally agree with you. As a matter of fact, full disclosure here, my husband and I keep up the nativity scene all year long. Now, of course, we do. We of course we remove the baby Jesus. After Epiphany, we remove the baby Jesus. So that we get back on track for the year. But we do have the nativity scene, the whole, and we keep it right next in our family room. So it's prominently placed, and people notice it all the time, and they'll say, "What are you doing?" And then they'll go, "Wait a minute, that's really interesting." And so it's kind of it does bring forth a lot of thoughts and comments, and people start to really think deeply about it. That it isn't just one time during the year. It's like Jean said so beautifully. It's our life. Our faith is our life. Anything else you want to share, Terry?
No, just that same. My wife for 30 years or so kept a Precious Moments nativity scene in a curio cabinet year round. And it was always there, and with other figurines in other places, but that was one that was always had a special place in our home.
Beautiful.
So thank you for having me on. I've got to run to an appointment with the Auto Bureau, and have a good Christmas.
All right. Pray for us, Terry. We'll do the same for you. Thanks so much. Appreciate your call. Take two with Jerry and Debbie talking about religious items, articles, signs, symbols, nativity sets. We're going to talk about that on Thursday as well, but you can mention that today if you want, that adorn your home, 833-288-3986. We'll go to Adam next in Irmo, South Carolina. I hope I said that right. Adam, is it Irmo, South Carolina?
Yes, sir. It's Irmo.
Irmo. Well, welcome. First-time caller. Great to have you with us on the program.
That's right. Yes, thank y'all. I wanted to bring up when I was a boy, a woman had told me and a couple of my friends, you walked into her house and there was a statue of about every saint of the church. As you walk into her house, she said with her finger raised to the sky that you will know what somebody worships when you walk into their house. And that has stuck with me throughout my whole life, because she mentioned, you couldn't see her TV when you went into her house. She always kept it hidden, but she would always have her artwork displayed. And so my wife and I, we heat artwork in front of where any of the television or entertainment sets would be, so that we're always knowing what we worship and what we sit around and what we look at the most. So there's a crucifix in every room, of course. And when we first bought the house, we had constructed a grotto ourselves for a statue of the Blessed Virgin. And one of my favorite things that we did, we had much too much closet space in the master bedroom. And so we turned the closet into a prayer room for us. And we have a crucifix and images of the saints and two chairs and a kneeler that we can go in there and pray together as a couple.
Okay, that is beautiful. Beautiful. And it's so true. It does stay with you, doesn't it, Adam? Because when that lady said, who was the lady? Was it a relative or a friend?
No, her name was Maria, and she was a lady at our church that loved to just have people over and cook for everyone. So.
Yeah, and her name is Maria. Amazing. But it's of course. But it's so true, for us to, and some people will say, I want to just say something real quickly. Some people say that, because I will tell you, let's just be really honest. There's a lot of spiritual art out there that is a bit cheesy. Okay, it's not tastefully done. But there's some beautiful spiritual art that folks can easily fit into any decor. I used to do a lot of interior design stuff, and it's so easy to do. And nowadays, so much is online. You can order stuff, and you can have things that match, and the rooms that match, and so it can be so beautifully done in a classy way to represent your faith. And I love that. And then you can still incorporate traditional pieces like the Sacred Heart or the Divine Mercy image or a traditional crucifix, and it just brightens up the room. And I agree with you, Adam. And my husband's in real estate. And, typically when you're a realtor, and somebody lists their house, one of the first things that the realtor does is they say, you probably should take down all of your religious items, so it appeals to a broader, group of people going through your house. And I can understand that from a marketing sense, right? But I've sold a few homes in my time, in my lifetime, and I've always kept at least one cross or crucifix up in the home. And every single time the house was sold, because the person buying, I'm going to tear up. The family buying the house was Christian, and they recognized that there was a Christian who, owned the home. And so see, I don't know if it always, works in that same marketing way. But so to your point, I think it's important to just display our faith and let it shine. That's what I say. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was kind of wondering who had the house before us, how they're doing now. Of course, when we first moved in, we had a priest friend over so he could bless the whole house, just because you just never know. But we always want to pray for the people who came before us, and then we got to know our neighbors, and they just said, "Oh yeah, the folks before you were just good, religious people and loved the Lord," and that just made us so happy knowing that we bought from another Christian family.
Yeah, beautiful. Adam, thanks so much, especially for reminding us how important it is to have a little space set away in our home to get away and get quiet with the Lord. Thanks, Adam in South Carolina. More Take Two coming right up.
It's time for Family Man with Dr. Gregory Popchak.
We all know that consistency is important for our children's well-being, but a recent study in the Journal of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry shows just how true that is. Researchers found that young children who experienced multiple moves and school changes had up to a 60% greater risk for exhibiting serious mental health problems in adolescence, including psychosis. Consistency in a child's life isn't just key, it's critical. Our church teaches us that human beings need ritual to be healthy and happy. Rather than being boring, repetitious actions, rituals bring order, meaning, and peace to our daily lives. Multiple moves and school changes disrupt the rituals that allow children to develop the ability to regulate their emotional, psychological, and relational lives. To give your kids an advantage, work hard to keep up rituals like family meals, game nights, family prayer, family days, and of course Sunday Mass as a family. I'm Dr. Greg Popchak, but you can call me Family Man.
To discover more ways faith can enrich your life, visit CatholicCounselors.com.
Hi, Take Two family. Jerry and I are so excited about the launch of Stand Tall, our new ministry designed just for you. Please visit StandTallToday.com and take a look at all the resources, devotionals, and services we have provided to assist you on your spiritual journey. Feeling stuck? Or maybe you feel like you're moving backwards? Let us help you take another look at life and make great strides toward being the person both you and God want you to be. Learn more at StandTallToday.com.
Join EWTN Radio for the readings from the 4 Sundays of Advent, this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern on EWTN, the Global Catholic Radio Network.
I'm Gloria Purvis.
I'm Monsignor Charles Pope.
And I'm Deacon Harold. The Morning Glory team asks, why does the language of the Mass change?
Tomorrow morning, 7 Eastern. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Wow, Take Two family, you know how to make a show fantastic with your takes on really any topic that we put out there. And today we're talking about religious art and items and articles and signs and symbols in our homes and how important that is, not just for us and our faith lives, but also, as we've talked about and we've heard from many people, when others come into our homes, they can be inspired and edified by that as well. We are going to go right back to your calls, but we have a lot of social media comments coming in. Lucia from South Africa says, the first pick anyone sees in my home is Our Lady of Perpetual Help, Pope John Paul, Mother Teresa, and the crucifix. I also have a memory table with rosaries around my deceased loved ones. I love that idea, Debbie. Monica, also watching on YouTube, I have a garden window with an image of Our Lady of Guadalupe. I have seen many drivers bless themselves when they pass by. I love to see their love for her. And also Facebook, Vicky says, I am quite an addict. I have a crucifix collection. Most are thrift shop finds. I love that. St. Francis is out front. I have a rosary collection, including Stand Tall. Beautiful. I have an icon collection. Never have enough of those. My nativity collection is up, including an Advent calendar. I, like Jean, she seems like a kindred spirit. Religious nerds rule, she says.
And
Thank you, Vicki.
And the comments and emails are coming in very fast, and the text messages as well. You can email us at take2@ewtn.com. If you have a certain, like prayer wall that you've done, a cross wall or something very unique in your house, send us a picture. We love that. And then our dear friend from New Jersey sent in this text. I have sacramentals all over my home, 3 crucifixes, paintings of Jesus in the garden, paintings of the Blessed Mother, Bibles in the living room, in the master bedroom and spare bedrooms, a wood carving of Jesus's head in the living room, a prayer corner with a kneeler in the master bedroom, rosary beads in every room of my house, and more. I love it.
Any couches, sofas, or beds or anything? Or just...
Oh, who needs to worry about that, right?
Right.
Wow, that is fantastic. Thank you. Keep sending the messages coming in. This is great. Doesn't it feel good, folks? It feels great. It feels great to be a Catholic Christian. And it's important that we display that so that we are witnesses to others. And when they come to our home, they can experience Christianity just by our images that we have on the walls. Okay, let's hear what Scott has to say in Amarillo, Texas, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Scott. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Howdy.
I wanted to mention, hi guys. I wanted to mention that the thing in our home, I have a collection of rosaries. Some came from my grandmother brought with her from Italy in the early 1900s when she came over, up to a warrior's rosary. You guys are familiar with those.
Mm-hmm.
But the item that gets probably the most attention in our home is in the front room in the living area on the mantle where I have a St. Benedict's cross. And most people that come into the home aren't really that familiar with a St. Benedict's cross. And I have next to it 2 beeswax candles and holy water for the Take Two crew. Everybody I'm sure is familiar with the 3 days of darkness for the mystics. So that's the purpose of that little gathering right there. But the St. Benedict's cross is interesting if you get people talking about it. I mean, and show them on the back the abbreviations for the prayer. The prayer is rather lengthy, but you guys have seen it. There's 10 or 12 letters around a circle, and it's basically the exorcism prayer, that a priest would use in a formal exorcism. But it's a very powerful conversation piece if you've never seen one up close. They're very beautiful crosses.
Oh, yes, we are quite familiar with it. And actually, Scott, just for our listeners' sake, if you do have a St. Benedict cross and you want to get it blessed by a priest, make sure the priest realizes that that's a St. Benedict cross, because there's a special exorcism blessing that's done. Yes, and it's very powerful, very, very powerful. I love, my husband and I have quite a big St. Benedict cross, one in our kitchen and one in our bedroom. And you're right. People always, if they come over, they'll look at it and they'll say, what are all these symbols? What does it mean? They're very intrigued by it. And it's very powerful. And I would encourage everyone, especially now, wouldn't you say, Scott, in this day and age, everybody should have a blessed St. Benedict crucifix in their home.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I would recommend, too, that, to your other point, just take a copy of the blessing in case it's just not handy, because it's rather lengthy. It probably goes about 10 minutes, and you participate in the blessing of the cross.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's that added blessing from a standard blessing of any article, and with that comes those. I would say the best way to describe it is the added defense, the protection against evil. And it's really very important. And especially in this day and age, folks, it's tough out there. The world's tough. The world, we know that Satan's trying to break the family, and it's important to have these very powerful sacramentals to ward off evil, especially if it enters into our home.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, and maybe some will follow up on that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott, for calling. We appreciate it very much. Yeah, it kind of drives home a good point, Debbie, and that is we're not just recipients of God's graces at a church building. You know, when we go to Mass, obviously the Holy Eucharist is the source and summit, the height of everything that we have as Catholics, and the sacraments, confession, and all of the other sacraments. But Holy Mother Church realizes that we are in the world but not of the world, and so she equips us with these tools, these weapons, if you will, where we can engage in spiritual combat. And let's face it, that's what it is. St. Paul makes it very, very clear. The battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. So anybody listening right now, if you don't have holy water, if you don't have blessed salt, if you don't have, you might want to get a St. Benedict cross or crucifix. They have the ones that you can wear around your neck as well. But let us equip ourselves, because the assaults, the fiery assaults of the enemy are not getting any less. They're only increasing with each passing day. So
it's true.
Just felt moved to share that.
No, that was well said. Thank you so much for reminding all. We need to hear this more, you know, and folks, tell us if you like topics like this, because we want to keep doing this for the new year. And it's important that, you know, you are responding to them and making some of those wonderful improvements in your home. Valerie commented, she said, I have a picture of Jesus outside my door and Mother Mary hanging on my wall in the front room. Way to go, Valerie. Okay, Elizabeth is in Evansville, Indiana. Eucharist Radio is the way you're listening, 88.7. Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for waiting and welcome.
Hi, happy Advent, and what a wonderful topic today.
Oh, thanks.
I'm a little nervous. It's the first time calling, but I just wanted you to know that I have everything that you mentioned at the beginning of the show in our house or around our house, except the wall of crosses. So maybe I'll work on getting that too. We have a large concrete life-size statue of the Blessed Mother in the driveway. We have Jehovah's Witness coming here frequently, we have statue of St. Francis of Assisi outside, all kinds of religious things. I know we're Catholic, but they still keep trying. We also had a picture, the Cursil picture of Christ in our front yard with the saying on it, America's most needed. And one day I was here in the kitchen with my my teenage grandson, and we saw two teenage boys get out of the car, and they went up and they yanked that picture out of the yard and threw it in the back seat and took off. And we saw them do it, and it made me so upset. I jumped in the car. Believe it or not, I caught up with them about 2 miles down the road. We live in the country. My grandson got their license plate number. We called the police and went back home. And believe it or not, within 10 to 15 minutes, the police and those two boys were in our front yard. And she was pretty rough on them. And she asked me if I wanted to file, against them. And I said no, but I wanted my picture back, but it was too damaged to put back up. But anyway, she asked the one boy, she says, what's your name? And he said, John Paul. And I said, like the Pope? And it was just upsetting. So we don't have that anymore. But that's all I had to say.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of very beautiful words that you had, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I don't think I've seen a whole lot of life-size statues of Jesus or Mary or the saints or anything, but that's really fantastic. And you mentioned the non-Catholic groups that come around, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, things like that. It could be such a great witness for them. And I can't help but think, Elizabeth and Debbie, that as many of them are, as they are ex-Catholics, that it's got to spark maybe something, hopefully God willing, within their mind or deep in their heart, maybe take them back to a time and a place where they they embrace the Catholic faith. They acknowledge the truth of it, and somehow, unfortunately, a lot of people get swayed by different philosophies and religions that are out there. But yeah, I think that's beautiful.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Elizabeth, as you were speaking, and then Jerry just shared his comments. I got to thinking about, Jerry knows this, when we, back in the day, okay, meaning a year ago, when we used to go to restaurants and travel and stuff, when that doesn't seem to be happening anymore this year. But Jerry knows that when a server would come to our table and they would have tattoos or any kind of body art, I would always ask them where it came from, what was the motivation for them to do this, and I find myself all the time asking so many young folks, especially, could you show me some of the tattoos that you can? And quite often they will have some form of a religious nature. And so I will ask them about that. And sometimes they are religious. Sometimes they will declare that they're spiritual. They're really not. They just do that because they'll say, "Oh, I have my dad's name tattooed here, and my dad was religious, so that's why I put a cross on." They'll answer like that. But this one gal, I remember her so clearly. She was so beautiful, and she says, "I can't remember why I got this rose on my ankle." And I said, "Oh, that's the Blessed Mother." And she goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, I was raised Catholic." And she goes, "Really? The rose for the Blessed Mother?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "So now you know why you got that. It was the rose for the Blessed Mother." And she goes, "Oh, I love that." And I thought, and I think to myself, if you're going to do something like that, I personally would never alter my the exterior of my body, the skin. I wouldn't do that. That's just me. Okay. But for people who do want to do that, maybe think about having something of a spiritual nature. I don't know. I just thought about that. What do you think, Elizabeth, real quick?
Yes, that I feel the same way about that. I'm not set against tattoos like some people are. The only other thing I just wanted to tell you, I started reading your book last night, Trustful Surrender, and I didn't want to put it down to go to bed. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll tell you, Elizabeth, all of the authors that came together, it was definitely by God. We could feel it. Everyone, it was just so perfect, and everybody had the same goal in mind. They just wanted folks to feel a sense of hope. They wanted to allow people to enter into their lives and see how it turned out, so that people can, start to pray for things and never give up, their prayer regimen for their loved ones. So thank you for noticing that, Elizabeth, and God bless you. And thank you for picking up the book. We sure do appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Email take2@EWTN.com. Brenda says, 6 years ago, we put our home in Ohio up for sale. We have a canvas picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe I had purchased from the Marians of the Immaculate Conception on our mantle and a crucifix over our front door. Our house sold within a week. God bless. That's from Brenda. And Bill sent this in. He goes, "Yes, yes, and yes. My wife and I can say yes to all of the items that you specified, as well as icons. We even have a crucifix in the main garage and a puzzle of the Last Supper on the wall in our second garage. A statue of Mary is in both the front and backyard. St. Francis also in the front yard as well. I have a papal flag, but I'm not currently flying under the U.S. flag. I'm flying a thin blue line flag as a secondary flag currently." He says, "We always believe that we should surround ourselves with these images and sacramentals so as to always be reminded of our faith. We have been blessed with the ability to acquire many beautiful pieces, both vintage and new. Blessings to you this Advent and Christmas season," from Bill in Cincinnati.
Oh, I love that. Okay, let me share something about the garage. Definitely, if you have extra spiritual items and you don't know what to do with them, put them on the garage walls. Because when your garage door goes open and up and down, your neighbors see that. And we've done the same thing. I love that. And we have gigantic. We have a big angel sculpture in the garage, and my neighbor across the street, she did something similar. She said, "Where'd you get that? I think that's so cool." And it's great. So that's a wonderful way to evangelize. Way to go. Okay, that Wow, we could keep doing this show forever. Okay, so real quickly, may I just say about the EWTN religious catalog, because that's also how you can get Trustful Surrender. So if you want to pick up the book, please get it. It makes a great gift, and we really want to promote it far and wide because it's the number one prayer intention for loved ones to come back to the faith. And so we really think it's a helpful book. It's a compilation of 11 stories, real life stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly, about loved ones who have walked away, come back. Some are still on the journey. So please, if you can, get the book. But EWTN Religious Catalog, EWTN TV Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. You'll see a unique selection of holy reminders, from books and paintings to rosaries and statues and everything in between. And your purchase directly supports the important work and mission of EWTN. So please don't forget EWTN Religious Catalog. I love it. That's my shopping place. Did I tell you that?
It is.
I've
Yeah,
told
it
you
should
that.
be
Okay.
for all of us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of items you can get. Okay, we're going to get to as many calls as we can here in our final segment, the quarter hour or show of the program. Mary, hold on. You will be right after Catherine in Dallas, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for waiting.
Oh, good morning to both of you. It's so exciting to talk to you, to have a chance to share this wonderful story. When we had our home built, a brick home, beautiful home, for some reason, my mother had this idea that she wanted to honor Mary and have her blessing upon our home by showing her some special devotion. So somehow, because through the help of the architect who designed the home, he was able to facilitate this, and that is that he was able to import from Spain the tiles, mosaics of a famous Spanish painting, probably by Murillo, Velázquez, could have been one of those great painters from Spain. And the tiles were sent to him, of course, in sections. And I don't know how this came about, but he was able to then import these beautiful tiles. And to one side of the front door, this beautiful image was constructed with cement, I believe, against the wall. So the size of it was about 20 inches across and about 30 inches long. It was the bust of Our Lady with child. And so it was a beautiful way to tell anyone who came by our home that we were definitely Catholic and that we had a special devotion to our Blessed Mother. People would come up to our front door and thinking that we were a convent, and we'd say, no, we're not a convent. We're just a family that lives here, has a great devotion to our Blessed Mother. It would draw sometimes people asking for handouts, and of course, in keeping with our Catholic faith, and we just, of course, would have whatever we had, whether it was our meal that we were having at the time, give a meal out to a person, or clothing, or whatever they were in need of. So there were incidents, of course. There were some people in the neighborhood who somehow rejected negatively at times to this image. And, of course, we had the Jehovah Witnesses and come up to our door, and we would engage in conversation with them. But unfortunately, we couldn't get them to see to accept what our faith teaches. But anyway, it's just a great blessing. And, of course, the house was blessed, and we had, of course, the enthronement of this enormous picture of the Sacred Heart, which was about enormous, life-size, and that was inside our home always. And so my mother had a great devotion. She was educated in a very strict Teresian, she was a boarder in a Teresian academy run by the Sisters of St. Teresa of Avila in San Antonio. So she was well, and she had a great devotion to the Blessed Mother, and which she also inherited from my grandmother as well. So, I do have a Mary wall as well. I have images of our Blessed Mother painted by different masters from around the world, and so it's beautifully. I'm looking at it right now, and they're beautiful images of our Blessed Mother with the baby.
I'll bet it is beautiful, Catherine. For the sake of time, I'm just going to jump in because one of this thought just came to me, and you were talking about people seeing your statue of Mary and coming over to your house thinking maybe it was a convent, asking for some kind of temporal blessing, food, a meal, maybe a blanket, a coat to wear or something. And what is the reason that we put these items, these statues, and these reminders of holy people, Jesus and Mary and others? One of the key reasons we do that is because we want to emulate them. We don't just put them up, but we put them up and we must be like them. And that is exactly what Mary would do, Debbie, is she would be very, very open and available to anybody, who needed something temporal, especially in the name of her son. So I think the stories that Catherine are telling, I can just envision all of these beautiful things in her home.
I can as well. And Catherine, if you do feel like it and you're able to do it, send us a picture. I mean, we're trying to envision what you're seeing, and I'm sure it's just exquisite. You can always email us at take2@ewtn.com. But thank you for just gracing this conversation today. Beautiful, beautiful contribution. I know we're going to try to get to Mary in California.
Mm-hmm.
Mary,
yep.
In California on Facebook. We're waving to you, Mary. We wanted to get to you. We have just a couple minutes. How are you? Hello, Mary. Yes,
hi, Mary.
You're on.
Oh, hi. I didn't realize you had gotten to me yet. Hi. Now I'm just like, blah. I had one particular thing when I heard this that I really wanted to tell you about, and then I started thinking of all the other religious things we have.
Right.
So right now I picked up the rosary because I have a lot of rosaries that was given to me by the person who said my sister's rosary when she passed away almost 4 years ago, and it really means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just holding it because I'm kind of nervous about trying to get all this out. But real quickly, I want to add before I say the main thing was my mother and father each carried a prayer book when they got married in 1941. And I have those. And my sister carried my mom's. I carried my mom's. My husband carried my dad's. And my son, when he got married, carried my dad's. So we have those. We have his missal from when he was in World War II in the Navy. That is really cool. And I should send you some pictures of that. But the main thing the first thing that came to mind was I have the statue of St. Anthony that belonged to my grandma, who I never knew, my dad's mother. She died when he was 12, and that was in 1930. My dad was born in 1918. And so this is over 100 years old, and it stands probably 2.5 feet tall, something like that. I could send you a picture of it, too, because I have not done anything to it, so it's extremely worn, and I think it is beautiful. And being worn like that, the paint being, off a bit. But my dad always had it in the bedroom on the dresser, and I feel a connection to my grandma that I never knew, and of course a connection to St. Anthony and my dad, and to the baby Jesus who he's holding, the infant Jesus. And I just absolutely, it's probably my most favorite, if you want to pick a favorite. It just warms my heart, and I just think it's wonderful.
Well, Mary, yeah, and I just love the way that you're sharing from your heart about how these have been handed down from generation to generation, and that way they have not only the religious significance that they represent, but also the emotional, the family tie, the connection, keeping people's memories alive, such as what you're talking about here right now. And yeah, Debbie, a lot of us, have these beautiful things. We don't have to go out and buy all of these new things. I mean, how many of us have things that have been handed down, especially rosaries? I've got tons of rosaries from my uncle, my late priest uncle, and my grandma, and these things are just, they're priceless. You can't possibly replace these things.
Yeah, to have a missal from way back then. Wow. Mary, you are so blessed. I hope that you do continue to display all of these all of these beautiful, precious, really sacred articles, and they continue to bless your home, Mary. And yes, please send us pictures. We are getting pictures right now. All of our fine Take Two family members are sending us nativity scenes. Marianne and Brad sent us a beautiful picture of their creche. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary. Elisa, we won't get to you, but you can always email us, take2@EWTN.com, and the others that are just calling in right now, a little too late for today's show, but we'll do this again. Well, we're talking about nativities on the 17th.
That's right.
Nativity scenes.
I want to thank Joseph in Baton Rouge for your email. My wife and I, he says, commissioned a canvas painting of the Stella Maris from one of our very good friends who is a fantastic artist. It's in a beautiful golden frame, and my wife described it as giving Our Lady her crown. Isn't that wonderful? Thank you, Joseph in Baton Rouge.
Love it. Okay, tomorrow we're going to be talking about those serendipitous relationships, events, occurrences, coincidences, God's providence. Well, until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph.
Dr. Ray Guarendi, making a commitment to the wives. When the show's on, put the radio under your husband's pillow. The percentage of